I realized I was not. So, anybody got big hands? I feel like I got the most ginormous hands in this world, right? And there should be controllers for people that have big hands. And for the longest time, there's been an Astro C40 to save my life, right? For the first time ever, you'll notice that these have an offset to them, these joysticks in front of you, right? So the joysticks, to me, this is the only reason that this Astro was even taken into consideration into the first place. Like, right? It should never be something that I would even look at, right? Unless it has the horizontally non-offset joysticks right there in plain view for me. And that's why I chose the SCUF controller. I don't want a PS5 controller, right? Which this is a glorified PS5 controller. That's what the SCUF is, right? The SCUF reflects a new PS5, remake. And I don't know. I feel like the one thing that I liked about SCUF, out of the very many things that were wrong with it last time, was the fact that the SCUF had these amazing joysticks. Now you'd have to replace them if you're playing competitively. Like, I want to replace them like every 3 days at the minimum. Sometimes maybe every 2 days. They're cheaper, I believe. I'm not 100. Don't quote me on that. I don't know how much they are now. That's back then, they were cheaper. The Astros, these joysticks here, and this is the main thing. I think for every player that buys a controller, like, you have to have. And FYI, the whole text-to-speech thing is off right now, so I'm not going to look at your comments. I'm going to soon do a review on this, and then afterwards, I'm going to start the stream over, and then I'm going to play with this again. If you guys want to check out some gameplay right now, you can go back to my previous stream, or the one before this last one, and you'll see the gameplay and the initial unboxing experience, right? So, but I mean, the very first thing I think a controller player looks at is, when he's going to buy a controller, like, what type of joystick setup is there, right? And so, for the Astro to be in my hands with the offset, that would mean it'd be a controller that I would never use, but it has an amazing feature which sets it apart from every single controller I've ever used or ever thought about buying, right? I'm going to show you this feature right here. And so this is one of the many things that just crushes on everything that SCUF has ever came out with as far as to diversify their approach to having like a good controller. So I have this tool that comes in the box. You don't have to pay extra, right, in Astro's box when you buy it, the C40. This is an older controller. We're going to compare this brand new. And this controller right now is $169 refurbished. So it'll look brand new right out the box. Astro just refurbishes it. And you get this controller right here. So, and it's going to last you a long time. It's a good controller. There's, there is a few cons which I'm going to go over in a little bit. But all right, so let me show you guys this in a nicer camera view. Gosh, it's so much, just an amazing view compared to that other camera I have. I can't wait until I can afford 4 of these overly priced cameras. All right, so I pull this up, right? I just took out, all I did was loosen up 4 screws. Now, these aren't screws that are just going to fall out. You don't have to worry about them falling out, right? So I take this out, right? Set that down. Now, you have this, right? So this is real simple. I don't have to, I can pick this up right here. I can shake it this way. I can shake it that way. Your kids could get a hold of it, whatever. I mean, this can actually come out. I would just do it with this in there. That could have been worse. But you're not going to lose those screws. This is really easy to take apart, put it back together. You can do it honestly, like while your game loads up in Call of Duty. So that's awesome. There's a lot of diversification into that. And then so now I want to switch it back to the regular non-offset horizontally aligned setup that I'm used to, right? So I put them back in place. They got these little red marks right here. It makes it real simple. Oh, you guys won't see it unless it's in the nice camera. Probably not even there. It's a really tiny red mark, but you just align that red mark with a spot, which I obviously know by memory because I've taken this apart so many times. And then boom. Now, if you want to, let's say you want a longer joystick, right? Let's say that's what I want. I want a longer joystick, right? I just simply pop that off the top, right? And I switch it out for another one. So you'll see that I have, multiple different joystick adapters, right? The heads, the actual thing you put your thumb on. And I have multiple different analog sticks, right? So in the analog sticks, the reason I have multiple of those is because you'll find like this one seems real responsive, right? You can hear it click back and forth. There's no real issues with this one. But what will happen is like over time, when I rub it in a circle right here like this, I can feel it rub, right? And I can just feel like it just doesn't move right. And because of that, I'll miss shots. Or I won't hit them as, you know, I don't have a smooth transition when I'm moving my crosshairs. You know, I'm trying to shoot somebody out of the sky maybe with my sniper. And so there's another joystick in here. Let me grab real quick. This is what they look like, brand new only. They have like some box on them that says Astro. I just ripped that off just so they fit in the box, or this little pouch, which also comes with the controller. So here's one for an example, right? Here's a good example of what an Astro controller or analog stick looks like whenever, you know, you've used it way too much. There's some stuff probably stuck in there. I mean, I think honestly, this one I cleaned out every single one of these. So this is cleaned out everything. And it's just exceeded its lifespan, right? So this happens to be the reason why one of the many reasons why I decided to put the Astro controller into retirement. You know, the Astro controller itself, amazing, but the fact that I can only order one of these at a time, and I have to pay shipping on both of them, it's going to get quite expensive. It's a refurbished controller already. So if I buy another one, it's not going to be new. I'm not going to expect it to last as long or perform as well. And you know, if anything, I want a newer controller that has, you know, the USB 4.0 technology that's available, that has a lot less latency, that can, you know, transfer more data. So like you're pressing a lot of buttons. I don't think that was ever an issue, but it may become one depending on, you know, what you're doing with your controller, right? And so I just want the newest technology, the latest and greatest, and the latency I don't know for sure, is much less. You know, my buddy Catfish described it as almost zero latency, and I think that was something he heard. So nobody's going to know that for sure unless they know how to test the latency of the controller. And if you do, let me know in the comments below, because I would love to have that software. I would love to be able to figure that out. You know, just like you do with. No, let me not get into networking. Okay, so. The con to the joysticks, right? The only thing that the SCUF has over these joysticks right here is the fact that your Astro controllers are just like every other, you know, Xbox Elite controller you ever bought, or Xbox controller, PlayStation controller. Every one of them has the same head, the same joystick, right? Or the head of the joystick where you put your thumb. Where you rest your thumb at, it's the same. And so you can use it, you can play for hours. And if you get to playing it for days, like you'll see streamers like with blisters on their fingers or like wrap around their fingers, because it literally will hurt your fingers that bad. So if you're going to be grinding like that, and this is going to be like, you know, your only game, you're streaming it all day, every day, or you're doing first-person shooters all day, every day, then definitely want to get, you know what I mean, the SCUF joysticks, right? Like they're not interchangeable, so you'd have to get the SCUF controller too. The problem that I have with SCUF, the last SCUF I had, so I haven't really got to explore this as much as I like, but it's just the fact that the SCUF in general itself, it's not a well-built controller. Like when I took apart the controller, it looked like some meth addict put it together, you know, that had been using a soldering iron for like 15 years. So it wasn't like a terrible job, right? Like it just was not the job that you would expect to see from, you know, a manufacturing, a company that manufactures controllers for like pro players, right? Like when I took it apart, I was dumbfounded. Like literally, it was a little logic board with a battery on top of the logic board that the PlayStation 4 controller already had, and there was just wires everywhere, and it just looked like I mean, honestly, like if I did that type of job, I would took the whole thing, threw it out the window, or started over and did it from scratch. That's how bad it was. Like just terrible. The Astro, on the other hand, very hard to take apart, but for a good reason. It was put together very well, and so. You know, either way, it doesn't matter though, because once you take apart either one of these controllers, the warranty's voided. So, but when I got into the Astro, like, you know, I'd watched a YouTuber do his, right, and he didn't show how to get into it. He just said that he broke his joystick. Like, I don't know why he decided to make a video after he took it apart and broke it and then dropped his joystick out the hole and put it back together. And now he had a big hole in the bottom of his controller right here. Not the joystick, I'm sorry, the paddle, right? But he did. And so I ended up taking mine apart finally. I was kind of, you know, reluctant to do it, but, you know, whatever. I did it, and it worked out fine. I was able to put it together, you know, amazing. So To put the top back on the faceplate, really simple. And it's you can feel this. This is sturdy. This is gonna last a long time. So I just tighten until I actually feel the screw given any type of resistance at all, and I stop. It's really simple. And you do that like catty corner, or just like you would a tire, right? If you ever put on a tire. If you haven't, and you're a lady with that big of hands, like I'm sorry, but everybody else, if you're men with that big of hands that need a controller like the ones I'm giving a review on, go change a tire, figure it out. All right, so look, I've tightened them up, and then I just get like a little half churn, right? Half churn, and boom, it's done. And there's a really cool button on the bottom that doesn't sync it like I said last time, but it actually does the, what's it called, calibration. So calibrate the controller, you don't have to worry about it messing up. And then, on top of that, I'm going to switch over here to my desktop real quick, so you guys can see that. So on my desktop, I'm going to show you, there's a user interface, right? So with the Astro controller. This I love, and I really hope to God, I mean, it's going to frustrate me that it happens, or if it does happen. Astro comes out with another controller. And I only say that because I don't want to spend more money, but I definitely will if another Astro controller comes out. Because the SCUF Reflex, I mean, it's just, I picked it up, I used it. I mean, I could see so many cons in it that I don't think there's even but a 1% chance that it's actually going to be worth the money. All right, let me plug this in real quick. Damn, I'm retarded. Get in there, sucker. She can't find it. It's too damn small. There we go. She found it. All right, so once I plug this in, I got 2 profiles. I mean, I don't know if you guys need more than 2 profiles, but whatever. You can actually make more profiles, but you can't switch them without going to the user interface. The 2 you can, right? There's a little button on the back here, or the front. I'm sorry. And there's like 1 and 2, profile 1 and 2, right? So if you want to do more than that, you can have them saved, and then you can just go to this user interface right here, and you can change it within the user interface, which is really awesome. Like, it has its own software, and because it has its own software, you don't have to worry about the Astro controller being overclocked. Astro controller is going to be at its very fastest as soon as you utilize it, because it has its own drivers, it has its own connection to Windows. There is no need for you to overclock it at all, right? But with a SCUF controller, that is absolutely 100% the case. And so what the frustrating thing about that is you bought a controller with hardware that is much more expensive than an Astro controller, right? But doesn't have half the functionality or the abilities, or just the diversification that it does. And on top of everything, you didn't make your own software for Windows, really? Like, you're making a lot of money, right? Sponsored, I don't know by how many people, but look, let me go to one more con about the Astro, because it's so hard to talk about it when you're comparing it to a SCUF. But it is kind of costly to buy these little $20 things. And then on top of that, one of my biggest cons is, and we'll go here to let's just go to the view profile. So like, let's say I want to map it, change it, whatever, right? This controller, or this trigger, has a trigger stop on it, right? I'm pulling this all the way down. If you look, the left trigger sensitivity never goes up to 100. The right never goes up to 100. Those trigger stops are on, right? And as a result, that 100% never gets sent to the pedal when you're driving. So I'm not a big driving game player. I like playing driving games, but if I wanted to, I couldn't with the trigger stop. Not that that would be like a logical thing to do. But if you're playing in Call of Duty and you need a car to get out of the gas, whatever, the few times that I need it, I can't use it, or I I'll think of any alternative but that. So it actually changes my gameplay. So that was a huge thing that really drew me away from the Astro controller. And other than that, like, that's it really. Like, it just built great, built tough. Had 2 controllers. There was never a point where like it just didn't work, right? Or I had to take it apart and fix something because it didn't work, right? Like the joystick, the triggers, I could just take the trigger stops off, whatever. This is how it came, default. And then, the paddles, they always worked. It got to a point where the buttons were kind of sticky, but I was able to, clean those out. And then eventually, what led to my decision to take it all the way apart was the fact that the paddles, everything was getting kind of sticky. I wanted to clean it all out. I wanted to open it up. I wanted to make a video, and I did. I did that, and in the process, just like the other YouTuber, I broke my paddle. Only I was able to just take a soldering iron and melt that back together. Okay, so let's get to the SCUF. To the SCUF. I'll unplug this sucker. Oh yeah, and so we'll look at the boxing that it's going to go back into before I sell it. No, I'll probably keep this honestly, because now I got the dual PC streaming set up. I can actually have somebody over, you know what I mean, as a friend or whatever, and play locally, like against each other. You know, I think that'd be pretty cool. So I've never actually got to do that since Warzone came out. You know, we did that back in the day, right? But now it's like impossible. All right. Oh yeah. I gotta say this one last thing. Okay, so this is the USB dongle, right? So the USB dongle will allow me to connect Bluetooth no problem and play with Bluetooth no problem. But that's not the same for the SCUF. The SCUF does not come with the USB dongle. It's made for USB gameplay. And therefore, what happens? You are not going to be playing with a Bluetooth connection, unless you download third-party software. So if you want to play with a Bluetooth connection with the SCUF, you need third-party software that SCUF will not provide you. They will not give you insight on. They will not suggest that you do it. They'll actually say that it will, if it happens, that it can void the manufacturer warranty, which their customer service is absolutely 100% trash. You're just going to be lucky enough if you get somebody on the phone that's going to actually have any brains to talk to you. So that part of SCUF I didn't like. But look, then again, you got to think like who makes the best controllers out there, and how long will this one last? I don't know. It may be better. Like it may be a better controller because they made enough money now that they're actually going to focus more on building a quality controller versus building a controller that is going to need it's going to make customers dependent upon their repeat business to have good gaming performance. All right, so I don't need all those. All right, so so not only did I get all this stuff right, but I have a case. I have a little tool to take it apart. I had extra little, 4 little joystick holders or whatever, and then I got a nice place to put my cord. I got a nice little pouch for it, whatever, right? Just fold that up. One more time. This goes right into the pouch, like so. Nice little, just keeps everything nice and neat. You don't have to worry about breaking it. On the other hand, SCUF offers that, but they charge extra. So, look, if you go buy a SCUF Pro controller right now, it'll be $140 some less than this controller is, or how much I paid for my controller, right? For that $140 extra, I still wasn't able to afford a carrying case for it. I wasn't able to afford there was no Bluetooth dongle available, right? And then there's just so much more that just wasn't there. So highly disappointed. Oh yeah. And then the boxing in general. Like if you look at what Astro did with their box, right? Like everything just fits in there snug and perfect. And when you pull it out, you're like, man, this is a really nice box, a really nice controller. Like the whole process was great in unboxing this. All right. Now let's look at what SCUF has, because it does have a lot of pros that I haven't talked about yet. I'm not going to knock it all the way. So I'm going to slide this out right here. So we're going to open it on up. All right. So first thing, you ain't even seen it. I'll start over. Let me switch back to my other screen. My fault. Okay, here we are. All right, so here's the box. Now, look, one of the coolest thing about SCUF is you can change the colors of everything. You can customize the whole thing, right? Like everything is customizable so it can look nice. If you ever watch me play, I base my guns off of which ones look the nicest. Like if I don't have a nice looking gun that can match another gun, like I won't use that gun. Like I will pick the gun that is not the meta, even though I already have the build and I know which one's going to be better. I will pick the gun that looks better just because I like the looks better than the performance. And I don't mind being the underdog and having a worse class. I want something that looks nice and that matches. Like I have colors: white, gray, black, red. Those are the colors that I want for my equipment, for my computer, for my clothes, for whatever. Because everything I have matches, and it makes everything easier in my life. Get dressed, get organized, whatever it is, right? With the exception of the brown shoes that you see in the background, okay? Like, we're not gonna talk about that. They were $20, and I ain't want to spend a lot of money on shoes anymore. All right, so first thing I noticed when I opened this thing is like, really? You spend that much money? These boxes right here are like literally in a bulk price, like 30 cents, 40 cents. You know what I mean? Maybe $1 at the very most if they're buying them individually. If somebody spends that much money, like you want to give them a box that's gonna match, right? The customized controller, or just do all black all together. Like the orange is gonna mean that it matches almost like it matches maybe what 10% of the controllers that are customized. It's just, that type of thinking it blows my mind. Okay, so whatever, like that's not a big deal to me. I don't care about the box that much, right? Like that's not gonna be a problem. That's just the first thing I noticed. All right, so then I open this part up, the plastic, right? And, oh yeah. Okay, so since I've already seen this stuff, I'm not just giving the thing that I like about it, right? So the first thing is this is a beautiful controller. Like this looks 1,000 times better than the Astro. It's something that I'm gonna be able to use. I'm gonna enjoy. I'm gonna be able to play with for hours on end, and I'm not gonna have to worry about a lot, right? And so it hasn't really got dirty at all yet. See it in a little bit higher quality of view, right? I mean, this is a nice controller. Yeah. So there was a few little accessories here. Come on, baby, get out the box. Alright, so 2 joysticks. This was annoying, very annoying at first, because like, okay, I ordered gray joysticks, right? Like I 300, a lot of money, right? Almost $400, almost a PS5 for a controller, right? And so you send me black joysticks. I ordered what? Gray joysticks, right? Super annoying to even see that, right? So whatever, that's fine. Throw that back in there. It just makes it like to the point where if I saw another company out there right now making the same type of controller SCUF did the same type of way, I would automatically switch up to them. I wouldn't even care if they performed it just a little bit worse, just because I know how big SCUF is, and I understand what planned obsolescence is. So planned obsolescence is the planning of deterioration over parts, right, after a certain period of time, much like a shelf life for food, right? Only it's planned, right? So it's, shelf life for food, they may try to reduce the time, with preservatives before it expires, but with electronics, they design it to fail sometimes, or like GM did, the first one that was ever exposed in America, had designed their motors to fail after so many miles, right? And so if you guys want to look into that, do that on your own. I won't talk about it too much. So anyways, GM, General Motors. Yeah, there was a little guide, whatever, but at that point I realized like they don't really care about the packaging. Besides of the regular customers that are just going to spend the least amount of money to get their controller, right? Like the majority of customers. Like when it comes to the people that are going to pay a lot of money and put their time and effort into it, they don't give a shit about them, right? So which is good. Honestly, I would rather them care about the majority, but I mean, you do anything how you do everything. So they don't really care about the majority. They're caring about the money just like anybody else in business, right? But at the same time, whenever I'm doing something that involves business, like I'm gonna put, like if I'm not doing something that's actually benefiting the customer, I don't want to be a part of it, right? So I feel like giving this insight, the negative and the positive feedback by no filter is going to be something that's going to be beneficial to you guys, which is why I've taken as much time as I have to actually talk about this experience versus the time I'm wanting to take playing with the controller, right? On top of that's going to be my business. So whatever. I'm sorry, I'm super picky when it comes to my boxes. Like everything that obviously I still have the controller I'm retiring's box. I like to have the box for things that I buy. Well, not everything, but just the expensive items that like I may make a video about or whatever. I might see someone that needs help or whatever, right? Or I might sell. Like guaranteed, I'll probably sell both of these. I just shouldn't throw them out, right? It did come like this. That was kind of cool. Good job, SCUF. Good job. All right, so I know that a lot of the stuff I'm saying sounds nitpicky, but when I spend that much money on a controller, like that's overly priced controller. This is the one thing that I bought myself. It's the one thing that I was excited about for all the hard work that I did and I put in through college and building the RV and remodeling the outside of my mom's home. Well, not remodeling. I did like the yard work and remodeled like that aspect of it, right? On top of 1,000 other jobs that just consume my life. A 4.0 isn't easy, especially when you get it in 2 weeks. All right, so let me. Okay, so this is the last con I'm gonna go over at the moment. You guys see that? That's orange. So they gave me this controller, and let me just tell you. I said I was retiring the Astro A40s. Well, yeah, I did. The old Astro A40s, that is. They're in this box right here, with this bag, which coincidentally enough, I still don't have one for my SCUF, right? So that was like, I don't know how much that one was, a lot. But these right here, look at that. Huh? These are nice. This is something I can work with right here. These are beautiful. They feel great when I put them on. They have amazing sound quality. I have a Mixamp Pro with them where I can use Dolby Atmos to get the 3D experience, right? The thing that's PlayStation 5 and Xbox switched over to. I'm sorry, Xbox switched over to. I don't know if it's exclusive to them or not. But paying for the software, I actually have an option where I can, if you have the Dolby Atmos software on your PC or you have a Dolby Atmos TV, right, or compatible TV, you can literally click a button and it'll switch to that 3D sound, so you can actually get the audio direction, right? Like there's a better word for it, the right terminology that I don't know in my head right now. And then there's a tournament mode where it just like clicks over and it's made like specifically designed for whatever settings you have for a tournament, right? And then it has all types of different settings where you can preset and save, and it allows me to do so many more amazing things. I'm not going to talk about it too much though, because you guys are going to see the controller. Maybe not. That's what I put in the title though. So on the bottom of this thing, this is a really cool futuristic look, right? Let me just do this while I'm talking about it. Got too many keyboards and controllers and devices. This is ridiculous. Let me. I can't see nothing. This headset is in the way. Un momento. Transform. Where are you at? Okay, whatever. Shrink this. Snap. Thank you. Okay. All right, so here's the controller, right? I mean, that's a good, nice look, right? I like that boxy look, right? So it feels great. That's awesome. The grip is nice, but at the same time, it's made for people with little hands. Like I don't have any grip up here, right? And so look at my hands. Like, I'm sorry, I forgot you guys can't see the bottom. Look, so up here, there's no grip at all. I didn't like that. That's one of the biggest cons so far. But the very biggest con on it is right here. These the start and the select button, they're way too close to the up and the triangle button. I have huge fingers. You see that? Like, I mean, just a simple press, and I can click over there real quick. Especially when I'm transitioning. Like it's the transition that gets me. So when I transition right from here to triangle, shoot, that's it. It hits start. I'm dead. And so there's that. Then there's also the fact that if I want to map it, I need to press this button here. Well, I got to turn it on first, so I hold down the power button, and then I hold down the player button right here until it flashes. Right now it starts flashing, and I hit two buttons, like a paddle and let's say X, right? that's maps. A paddle in circle, that's maps. Paddle in square, that's maps. So it's whichever one I press last. So let me think. I want to press X is jump. So no, slide. No, my slide is. This is slide. And this is jump. Okay. Yeah. So slide, jump. Now I know that, right? And then once you're done, you just wait till it's done flashing, or you can press it again, and it's done. You have 3 profiles, right? So I mean that's real easy, but I'd rather do user interface. I don't know about you guys, but you could actually map your paddles on the fly, so that's cool. And then yeah, I mean, these joysticks, they don't feel like the same joysticks. But we're gonna find out because it's been a while. They're like pencil erasers, honestly. And so you're not gonna get these are amazing joysticks, and they have some of the best performance out there. Their response time is less. I've used it, and I can feel that. I'm not 100%, about 98% sure. Yeah, but once again, for the people that may or may not be viewing right now, just FYI, I turn restream chat off on purpose. I'm not responding to comments. I'm specifically focusing on this little review, but I will be soon, and I will be utilizing it so you guys can see that. Playing COD, right? Yeah, so I mean, to see this like right here, you see the texture on that? Like there's a little bit of texture right there. And like so here, it's like really messing with my mind right now. That's all smooth. So you get, I mean, for me to have right, means I need to grip up closer, and it puts my fingers right here, like right. So like my fingers, I don't even know how to show this to you. My fingers literally, they rest on the start and the select button. So that means that I have to pull back here, okay, like this. I can't even show you. This is ridiculous. So I have to pull back here. This is where my hands should go, right, to feel comfortable, right? I could use both of them like that. But if I do that, then what happens? So I have to pull my hands back here. Right? And then now I only have one finger to utilize on both of these. So these are made for really, really small, tiny, bitty little girl hands, or kid hands, right? A grown adult should not buy this, right? I mean, if you got money to spend on it, you still shouldn't buy it. Whatever, I don't care what the situation is. It's just, and it's I'm upset about it in general. But we're gonna see if I can actually adjust and I can actually play with it. Honestly, I probably would have been so judgmental if they would have just put the time into that right there. Like, really, it's a cord, it's a cable. Like $350, $140 extra. That's on top of the Pro controller, the most expensive controller that they have that you don't customize, right? $140 extra on top of the most expensive Pro controller you can buy, right? And I don't get a cable that matches. Like, and I just paid $140 extra for it to match. I don't get a carrying case. I don't get a USB dongle. I don't get a user interface. No software. Have to use third-party software to overclock the controller. And if I do it, my warranty's void. Astro has all that, and this is a controller that's 5 years older. So I mean, that's a lot of cons. SCUF, definitely not the way to go. Okay, so look, this is an Astro A40 headset, right? Like this, it came with the controller. This is the first time they did it, and they did it right. And it's just like, man, that is the con or the pro to having Logitech buy them out. They've thought about how to be a little bit more diverse in their manufacturing, and so I guess it's easier for me to be judgmental because I know what the manufacturing process is like. I built parts for both sound systems. I built parts for I've manufactured parts, like ran the whole die casting press machine and develop the speakers themselves, right, or parts of the speakers, as well as many other things like components for wheelchairs or components for military grade parts I'm not supposed to talk about, and other things like that, right? So I literally like melted down the metal myself, grabbed it, throw it in the machine. Like I have the experience and I see that, and I know what it would cost because the whole time I'm working, I'm like, okay, so how am I going to build my own little die casting press machine? Or sorry, the molds, right? Like it's like $1 million machine. So knowing that, like, and seeing like how easy it would be to just change the color in general, it's like, man, you got to be super tight, and to see that, just like it's highly annoying. So for big-handed controller players, the SCUF is not for you. Alright. I wonder if they'll let me return it. I'll be super stoked if I can without having to complain. I mean, I know I can. Like, I just don't have to go call them and fight and I'll argue and all that. It may be the best controller I've ever used. Like, last time I talked all kinds of shit on the SCUF. I was super disappointed the first time I saw it, and then I was just, like, super happy, and then 3 days later, you know, I was like, okay, well, it broke already, and you can't use it no more because I dropped it 2 feet off the ground from a futon. The cheapest one you can buy at Walmart, right? So, like, literally 2 feet off the ground. And the trigger stop broke. Live gaming desktop, there we go. That was a lot of talking. Alright, so you guys want to tune into the next stream and actually see 35 minutes I talked about this? That's a lot of talking. That's a lot of talking. Appreciate y'all bearing with me. I know I got some work to do on it, so criticism please. And I invite it. The recommended settings have been updated since the last time you ran Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Would you like the game to configure itself optimally with these new settings? This is recommended for most people. It will change your system settings, but not your controls. Fuck. Wait. My system settings. So they made new ways to utilize this. I don't know. Hell no. Damn it, I hate that I say that because I'm going to have to go in here and check all these settings out. And I'm going to have to download some random ass software for this SCUF controller that cost me $350. It's infuriating. But alright, so I'm going to stop the recording and then we're going to go into like testing or whatever. You know what? Matter of fact, y'all just want to wait around. I'll do it all in the same video because I recorded the whole review thing. So I'm going to stop the recording. I can use that for my unboxing video for my tech channel, which I'm going to edit out, and it's going to look a lot better if y'all want to check that out. It's Simplified by Dylan. If you guys want to know how I stream to 5 channels at once, you can check the description below, as well as Restream is in the description. You can check out how to get a better latency, like I'm getting in Mexico right now. Or I believe it's like $3.28 a month if you buy a year subscription for PIA's VPN. There's all kinds of other things that are pretty cool in the description. If you guys want to check that out, be right back. It's taking forever.
Power. We were all robbed of it. Those so-called heroes left us divided and broken. But they underestimated how dangerous we are. That mistake gives us an opportunity. And for the first time, they'll understand what it feels like to be powerless.
I'm gonna stop the stream. I'm gonna restart the stream. That way I can separate these two videos because I'll actually like to rename the stream and then talk about the new game. Season 5, son.